Gemini Scorpios. Well, Gemini. Ah! Oh my god. Ah, no. Oh, wow. Okay. Gemini. Gemini Scorpio. Sorry. Gemini Scorpio. Well, it's a bit of a more difficult combination between Geminis and Scorpios because if you have your ascendant or sun in Scorpio, then a Gemini, if you have your ascendant or sun in Scorpio, for instance, to a lesser degree the sun, usually the ascendant is more important, but a Gemini will trigger your 8th house. A Gemini will trigger the 8th house, which is a difficult house in astrology. And Gemini will usually have to teach you a bit more difficult lessons. Or even if it's a good lessons, they're done in the difficult way, you know. 8th house is the house of all our weaknesses, vulnerabilities, and things which make us somehow less in control of our life. It can be addictions, it can be obsessions, it can be weaknesses like paranoias or fears or anything which takes the power away from the person. So Gemini person can have this influence to a Scorpio ascendant, in particular Scorpio sun to a lesser degree a moon person. So the Gemini can trigger fears and vulnerabilities in the Scorpio in the Scorpio person in the most negative example is that the Gemini can actually even lure into a darker life the Scorpio person. They can lure him into, say, for instance, into drugs or into drinking or into feeling worse, or by trying to manipulate and control the Scorpio person, by trying to take the power away of the Scorpio person, you know, by having power struggles with them. But in the most positive case scenario, where the pain comes, is also the people who cause you the pain are also some of your biggest teachers because they help you confront this. And they help you overcome it, and they help you come out stronger and more powerful in your life out of such a situation, you know. So, Scorpio people can act. So Gemini people can have a very positive effect sometimes to Scorpio in a different way. Gemini, for instance, once they come into the life of Scorpio and make the Scorpio face their own fears, their biggest weaknesses, after that the Scorpio figure becomes much more powerful, much more stronger. You know. Also, Gemini can be a great psychologist or a great helper to a Scorpio figure, in the sense that they can help the Scorpio figure become deeper and explore the deeper recesses of their soul, explore their fears, explore these weaknesses, and they can help a Scorpio. Say Gemini in the most positive level can help a Scorpio overcome their own addictions, overcome own fears, overcome own weaknesses, own vulnerabilities, open up emotionally. And because of that, oh my God, they're probably Gemini and Scorpio, these two dogs. And because of this, Scorpio can have a very, Gemini can be an extremely healing influence for the Scorpio person. Because, as I said, Gemini can act as a psychologist, as a friend to whom the Scorpio person shares and opens up their deepest recesses, their deepest fears, their deepest vulnerabilities, and the Gemini helps the Scorpio person overcome it. But on the lower level of expression, the Gemini can trigger those weaknesses in the Scorpio person. So the Gemini can be the reason that the Scorpio person feels weaker or disempowered in some extent. Okay, now let's see what happens if you have your ascendant in Gemini. What will a Scorpio person teach you? If you have your ascendant or sun in Gemini, what will the Scorpio person teach you? Usually the Scorpio Usually the Scorpio person triggers for the Gemini ascendant and the moon person their 6th house. And the 6th house is another one of those more difficult astrology houses. It's the house of learning to fix things, to deal with problems. It's the house of arguments. So Gemini and Virgo. Ooh. So a Gemini and Virgo person can have a lot of arguments together. Can have a lot of arguments together and a lot of testing that you do to each other. And the Virgo person, the Scorpio person can affect the Virgo person in a in an antagonistic way. They can even become enemies somehow, or through arguments. Even if the Scorpio person is the spouse of Gemini, they'll tend to have a bit more arguments because the Scorpio person is in the life of the Gemini person to teach them how to overcome, how to deal with arguments, how to deal with imbalanced situations, how to deal with. Tension in a relationship, how to control their temper, their character as well. So, and what happens if your ascendant or to a lesser degree sun or moon is in Gemini? Then a Scorpio will trigger the sixth house for the Gemini. And it means the sixth house is another difficult house in astrology. It's the house of learning practical lessons in life, of the house of knowing how to deal with practical problems, how to be organized, how to be efficient, how to work. So all those things that we humans usually don't like doing. So usually someone to teach us those things, they have to antagonize us in some way. They have to, tell us, oh, you're doing a poor job. They have to criticize us. So often the Gemini might feel more criticized by a Scorpio person, because they trigger the sixth house of the Gemini, or it can be the opposite thing, that the Scorpio person triggers a lot of self-criticism or the critical qualities in a Gemini person. So in the good sense, they can teach a Scorpio strong person, say Scorpio ascendant, sun, moon, can teach a Gemini ascendant person, or to a lesser degree sun or moon, how to be more discerning in life, how to use their mind to choose what is right and wrong, how to be more critical to situations, how to be more practical, how to be more ordered, more clean, And a Scorpio person can do this by positive example, or by nagging the Gemini person, or by being completely messy themselves. So the Gemini person gets totally upset about that and being totally unproductive, the Scorpio person. So making the Gemini person works harder. Yeah, so sixth house also is the house of order, cleanliness. They can teach all those lessons to the Gemini person. Debts. So Scorpio person can be someone that the Gemini person has a debt towards, or the other way around. Sometimes it's projected. So the Scorpio person might have a debt to the Gemini person to serve the Gemini person, to teach them things the hard way, to give maybe more to the Gemini person. Or to be somehow maybe like in a subservient position to the Gemini person. And because sixth house is the house of servants, of people who are a little bit below us in some way, who give service to us, or they can trigger, or a Scorpio person can trigger the desire in the Gemini person for service, to go and help others, to be more useful, to be more productive, to work harder, So it's actually sometimes quite good, those relationships, when it comes to career, when it comes to business, having a Scorpio, if a Gemini ascendant, having Scorpio people working with you or for you. Sixth house also rules health, how you keep your body, healthy, eating good food, working out, health awareness, holistic methods. So Scorpio person can be a good inspiration for the Gemini person when it comes to those things. Or they can do it in the wrong way, by Scorpio being so unhealthy or by the Scorpio, say, a Gemini person is born, they have a child Scorpio with Scorpio ascendant, sun or moon, which is very, say, overweight, then it makes the Gemini person more aware of this. So makes the Gemini person teach the Scorpio person how to take better care of their body, or the other way around. The Scorpio person will teach the Gemini person how to do those things, or will inspire the Gemini person, sometimes in a negative way, to take care of their body, to be more aware of how to bring balance into their life, how to take care of the physical body, and of the how to be more dutiful and responsible, how to deal with solving problems, because sixth house is the house of problems. So Scorpio can teach Gemini how to fix problems, how to solve them, how to face their enemies, how to face all those things that we usually try to sweep under the carpets and don't want to deal with them, especially things of the practical, material, financial world around us. So yes, it's a bit, both signs teach each other more difficult things, so there can be a bit more friction and a bit more judgment or criticism or between such people, but actually they make each other grow a lot, sometimes usually in the hard way, but You know, they teach each other some of the most important lessons of this life. Scorpio teaches Gemini the lesson of order, of productivity, efficiency, of paying attention to detail, being organized, you know, health, fixing problems, dealing with arguments, while the Gemini person teaches a Scorpio person how to overcome how to face the inner demons, the biggest weaknesses, and how to overcome those. So thank you very much, and please give your opinions and your. Do you agree with what I say?